Hey everyone, it's Hydreezy here, and earlier today, I saw a video from Bengal doing a way too early 2024 NFL mock draft. I'm like, hey, that's a really good idea. And I'm like, oh, actually, this would be really funny if I did this because I am not very knowledgeable on college football, to be completely honest. So, I mean, none of this really matters anyway, so it doesn't matter, um, because it's literally a year in advance. But I do think I will still do a pretty solid job because I do know NFL. I know what every team needs for the most part. So I'm like, okay, I feel like I can do this. If I do have a shit take, though, feel free to cook me. It'll probably be really funny. So let's just get into it. First overall, we got the Cardinals right now, which I would not be surprised at all if that happens. They're gonna suck ass, respectfully. So let's just start the draft. First overall on the board, Cardinals. Now I think in real life they're going to trade this pick if they actually get number one, but I'm not paying for PFF so I can trade draft picks. Okay, so we're not trading, no trades. So I think at number one, they're just going to take another tackle for their quarterback. They're going to take Joe Alt out of Notre Dame, help protect him. I know they took Paris Johnson this year, but their offensive line still pretty. It's not very good. Now at number two overall, I'm gonna have them take what you could maybe argue is the best player in the class. I would say he's the second best. Funny enough, going to number two, that's Marvin Harrison Jr. Absolute freak. He doesn't play at all like his father, but he's just as crazy of a player as of a prospect. Absolute athletic monster. I mean, he's just a beast. I don't know what to tell you. One of the best receiver prospects we've seen in years. And I think he's worthy of a number two selection, absolutely. Just like, well, I don't want to compare it to Calvin Johnson, but he's that level of prospect. He's a beast. And now at number three, this one's kind of obvious. Tampa Bay is going to be taking Caleb Williams here. Any team that needs a quarterback, if they get up to the spot where you draft the first quarterback, they're going to take Caleb Williams because he's the best player in the class, the best quarterback in the class, one of the best quarterback prospects we've seen. Period. Like in the past 20 years, he's up there with in terms of just prospect, he's up there with the Peyton Mannings, the Andrew Lucks, the Trevor Lawrences. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak. And so I think he's going to go number three. Up next at number four, we have the Colts. Obviously took Anthony Richardson this year, so you're going to want to protect that quarterback, especially since the Colts offensive line just has not been good recently. So they're going to take Olu out of Penn State here. One of the best tackles in the draft, in my opinion. Obviously, things can change, but everything I've seen from him is, he looks like a really good player, and I think he's going to be a beast. And I do think he's going to go to the Colts because I think the Colts are going to have a really high pick still, because they're still going to suck next year. They're going to be fun, but they're going to suck ass. At number five, Washington fans, Sam Howell fans, Don't get on me for this. I don't think Sam Howell's going to work out, And if he doesn't, it's no big deal. You didn't invest anything into him. You invested a fifth-round pick, okay? So you're going to take the better UNC quarterback here. You're going to go with Drake May at number five overall. He's a beast. He's a monster. There's a chance he could actually work himself up to being the best quarterback in the draft. All depends on how this next year goes. I just still think Caleb Williams is better, but Drake May is an absolute demon. He would have been the first overall pick in this draft. This past draft in 2023. So yeah, he's going to be the second quarterback off the board. Straight up monster. Just really good player. Here at number six, though, I've got a couple of thoughts of what I can do with the Packers. I'm kind of stuck between Jared Verse and Emeka Egbuka. Now, I feel like the Packers are more inclined to take edge rushers just because they're weird. But I feel like what they should do here is take Emeka Egbuka, help out Jordan Love, get him a weapon, because right now you just got Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs pretty much. That's not really good enough. I mean, you do have the tight end, but he's got a ton of injury concerns, and that's not the same as a truly, game-changing wide receiver, which I think Emeka Egbuka absolutely can be. I think he's a really good player, and I think he's going to go to the Packers here. Up next, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. And I think they're going to continue to build up that defensive line, support Max Crosby, and support their new rookie Tyree Wilson. Give him more help, and you're going to take Jared Verse, best edge rusher in the class, arguably. It's either him or Dallas Turner. Absolutely. So I think they're going to continue to beef up that defensive line, beef up that defense before they get another quarterback, because they're going to stick with Jimmy G for a little bit. And I think they're going to take Jared Verse. Pick number 8, we had the Tennessee Titans, and I think they're going to take J.C. Latham out of Alabama, continue to build up that offensive line, protect their new quarterback in Will Levis, because, frankly, even after Skoronski, their offensive line is just it's not good, okay? It's not good. So continue to add support for their quarterback, get J.C. Latham out of Alabama. L.A. on the clock here. Obviously, their current tight end, he's on his last year of his deal. I don't know why I can't remember his name right now. I know him. Like, I know this. I know who the second Rams tight end is. It's Bryce Hopkins. I can't, for the life of me, remember their tight end's name, though. I don't know. But he's on the last year of his deal, so I think they're going to take the best tight end prospect I think we've seen in a while. I think he's better than Pitts as a prospect, like, no doubt. In my opinion, he is one of the most well-rounded, balanced tight ends. He's good at literally everything. He's complete. That's Brock Bowers. He's a demon. I don't think there's any chance he ever falls out of the top 10. He's a straight-up monster. Now, at number 10 here, we have Chicago. And I think they're just going to continue to build up this defense because their offense is kind of starting to take form. You know, you got your quarterback. Hopefully. I do believe in Justin Fields. I think he's going to be good. You got your receivers. You know, you got DJ Moore. You got Darnell Mooney. You got Claypool. That's not a bad group at all. That's a pretty good group. You got your running back. Oh, my God. Excuse me. You know, you're fine in the running back room. You're already beefing up your offensive line. You know, you got Darnell Wright. So what I think you're going to do here is continue to build up that defense, specifically the defensive line here. And you're going to take someone who you could also argue is the best edge rusher in this class. If he steps up, he probably will be. And that's Dallas Turner out of Alabama at number 10 here. And I think with number 11, they're going to take one of my favorite players in the draft just because I'm an Eagles fan, Jeremiah Trotter Jr. I love Jeremiah Trotter, and I love Jeremiah Trotter Jr. too. He's a very good player. And he kind of fills a need there. He helps out that front seven of the Bears. Take Jeremiah Trotter here. Now, New England. Now, remember, this is what I think they should do. Continue to help Mac Jones, okay? Get him a really good receiver. Very good. I really like this player. I really like Xavier Worthy. You know, I know he didn't have a great year, but I think he's going to bounce back. I think he's a great player. I really like Xavier Worthy. And I have him going here at number 12, second receiver off the board to New England. Now, at 13, there's a lot you could do with the Falcons. They've improved a lot, but they still have quite a couple holes. And I'm going to think that they continue to just beef up that secondary, because that seems like that's what they're trying to go for as their strength of their defense. You know, you got Jesse Bates. You got A.J. Terrell. Why not add Kool-Aid McKinstry, who's an absolute beast. I love watching him at Alabama. He's a great player, and I think he'll go at number 13 overall to the Atlanta Falcons, stay in the same area, and he'll be a good player. At number 14, we have the New York Giants. They could do one of two things. They could continue to beef up that defense, which has kind of brought them back to relevance, was, focusing on the defense. Or they could get Daniel Jones a big body target, a true wide receiver one, which is what I think A.D. Mitchell is. A.D. Mitchell, if he can stay healthy, is a beast. And that's what I think the Giants are doing there. Get the best receiver left on the board and, one that kind of fits your scheme. Now, at number 15, Broncos could do a couple things. I know a couple people think they should take a quarterback here. I don't think so, not yet. I think Russell Wilson can and will be saved. So, that leads us to the question, what are you going to do? You lost Bradley Chubb, so you don't really have that same impact on the edge. You don't have that same impact off the edge, which is why I think you're going to be taking Laiatu Latu. Really good player. Fantastic player. Help out the defense even more. I feel like your offense is good. Or you could go offensive line here. But I think they're going to go with Latu out of UCLA. Try to be the Bradley Chubb replacement. Now at number 16, this is a bit controversial. Geno Smith will have 2 years left on his deal. Okay? So what I think you do, Seattle fans are going to get pissed at me for this. You grab his replacement right now to groom him behind Geno Smith for his last 2 years. And I think it's going to be Michael Penix. I don't know which one it is. Penix sounds wrong. It just, like, you know why it sounds wrong. So I'm going to say Penix. Michael Penix Jr. out of Washington. You know, nice storyline there from Washington to Seattle. And I think he's a really good quarterback, too. I really like him as a prospect. Yeah, so I think you're going to groom him behind Geno for those 2 years. And, yeah, that's all I can say. I know there's some more pressing needs you could take here. But I feel like Seattle is really going to be looking forward to the future here and take Penix. Next up here, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I think they take an edge rusher here. I think they take JT out of Ohio State. Continue to build up that defensive line and that edge room, you know, make it just truly a demon. And I think that's what they're going to do here. Up next, we got the Vikings. And they're going to take the first corner off the board in a while. They're going to get Kalen King out of Penn State. Really good player. Really good player. I really like him as a prospect here. Vikings desperately need defensive help. Their secondary sucks. Their defense in general sucks, but I think they're going to take Kalen King here. And hope he's not Jeff Gladney. Texans here, they could do a lot of things. Texans are just not very good. You know, even with all the moves they made, they still have quite a bit of holes just because that roster was just terrible. Now it's, you know, okay. It's mid. It's peak mid. And I think, though, they can take pretty much a lot. They could argue pretty much any of the remaining players here. And I think they're going to take Johnny Newton out of Illinois. You know, help build up that defensive line even more. You got Will Anderson. Now get another piece for there. And they have Ogbo Arankwo, too. So just keep building up the defensive line. Make that the focus of your team. And get Jazon Newton. Build through the trenches. Up next is the Saints. To do a couple things. But I think they really need to help out Chris Olave. Because he's the only one back there, man. Michael Thomas is just not that good anymore, and he's injury prone nonstop. So how about Chris Olave? Grab Johnny Wilson out of Florida State. Dynamic player, you know, can be used as a tight end too. He's a very good receiver. Yeah, I like Johnny Wilson a lot, and I think he's going to go to the Saints here at 20. Up next, 21. The Miami Dolphins, and I think it's kind of obvious what you got to do here. You got to protect Tua. So they're going to take Kingsley Suamataia out of BYU. I'm pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. Very good tackle. As long as nothing happens. Obviously, all this is subject to change, but I think he's a good tackle. And I think he will be a Miami Dolphin here at pick 21. Up next, we got the Baltimore Ravens, which I think are going to do a standard Baltimore Ravens pick, which is kind of just to beef up the secondary. And I think they're going to take Go White Boy Go, Cooper DeJean, cornerback from Iowa. My GOAT. Up next is the Chargers. For years, we've been talking about how the Chargers' run defense is just so dog shit. It's just not good. Period. It's not. It's really bad, actually. It's been bad for a couple years. So I think they're going to try to patch that up. They're going to take Leonard Taylor out of Miami. Maybe a little bit of a reach for a defensive tackle. But I think it's a good pick here, okay? I like it. It fills a need. Yeah. Up next is the Dallas Cowboys, who could do a couple things. As we look through here, you know, there's a lot of options on the board. That would make sense for Dallas. But I think what they're going to do is continue to help out Dan Quinn. Keep bulking up that defensive line. They could take a receiver, but I feel like the receivers left would be a little bit of a reach at 24. So I think they're going to take Mason Smith out of LSU. I really like him as a player. Very good prospect. And I think, I don't want to give Dallas good players because I hate the Cowboys. But I feel like that's the best pick for them at that point, just with how the board's fallen. Up next is the Packers. Now they're going to do the Packers thing, and they're just going to take an edge rusher. They're going to take Chop Robinson out of Penn State because that's what the Packers do. Okay? Continue to help out with Rashad Gary and Lucas Van Ness. Just continue to build up that edge room. Up next is the Detroit Lions, and I'm going to have them taking cornerback, help build up that secondary, as that was their main weakness last year, and I'm sure it's still going to be a weakness this upcoming year. Even with CJ GJ and Brian Branch, they don't have a great cornerback room, which is why they're going to take Javon Bullard here, in my opinion. Lions fans get mad at me. I don't really care. And now at 27, we're finally going to have the first safety off the board. I feel like Cameron Kitchens is just too good to let fall out of the first round, and I feel like he would really help out the Jaguars' defense, which is already a pretty solid unit. Cameron Kitchens is really good. Okay, it's that simple. Best player available, really. Up next here, we've got the Buffalo Bills. Now, they want an edge rusher because their edge rusher's room is, frankly, it's not very good. Okay, it's not. So I'm kind of torn between Cooper Beebe at guard or Braylon Trice at edge rusher, and I'm going to go with Braylon Trice. I just feel like your edge rusher room is really your kind of a low point in terms of the Bills roster. So I think you take Braylon Trice, and hopefully that one works, because the past couple edge rusher picks have been pretty mid. Haven't worked out very well for you guys. Up next is my Philadelphia Eagles, and I kind of know what they're going to do. Like, hear me out here. I know a lot of players, I know a lot of fans, are against running backs in the first round, but listen to me. Rashad Penny's gone after this year. DeAndre Swift is probably gone after this year. So, it's just going to be Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott. That's not very good. And you can make luxury picks at this point. Your roster is stacked, which is why I think they're taking Blake Corum to pair with Kenneth Gainwell and continue to have a dominant run game. They would still have a really good run game if they would just had Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott, but this would help elevate them to just dominance. I like Blake Corum as a player too, and so I think he's going to go here at 29 to my Birds. Though obviously this pick will be 32 in real life. Up next is the San Francisco 49ers. Now, you lost McGlinchey. Offensive line already wasn't great with McGlinchey. So, you got to take an offensive lineman, I think, here. So, I'm kind of torn between Zion Nelson and Cooper Beebe. I'm going to lean more towards Zion Nelson, though, because you kind of need a tackle. McGlinchey's gone. You have a big need at tackle more than the other positions on the offensive line. Though, I think you could argue either one here. I'm going to take Zion Nelson out of Miami. Up next here is the Cincinnati Bengals at 31, which is weird. Why do they have the second highest Super Bowl odds? Because I'm pretty sure that's what this bases off of. That's kind of weird. Anyways, again, with the running back thing, I know some fans don't like doing that, but you need to get a replacement for Joe Mixon. I think this is an upgrade over Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon is not very good in my opinion. He really hasn't. He was not good last year. And he's got a ton of character issues. It's like, okay, you got to just cut it off at this point, okay? Get your replacement, get an upgrade, get TreVeyon Henderson, keep that man in Ohio. TreVeyon Henderson, very good running back. Yeah, I think he goes here at 31. Next, the Kansas City Chiefs. They got to go receiver here, right? I mean, they could make pretty much any pick and it would be okay. But, you took edge rusher the past 2 years. So, they're not doing that. I think they have a good young cornerback room. Just in general, the defense is fine, I think. Just continue to make their offense unstoppable, and you won't really have to worry about the defense. Which is why I have them taking Malik Neighbors out of LSU. I think he's a beast. If he takes a step up at LSU that I'm thinking he will, and he's already good, but if he takes that step up, I think he's going to be an absolute monster. And I have him going to the Chiefs at 32. He could be the next great LSU receiver. I have him coming out here at 32 to finish off my first round. And yeah, that's about it. I think I did pretty good. Okay, I'll get it off my screen, PFF. I think that's a pretty good draft. Just my opinion. So yeah. And that's about it. Look through it. I think I did pretty good for someone who's not the most knowledgeable. I'll admit I'm not a college football genius. But that's it. That's my way too early 2024 NFL mock draft. Disagree with me? Tell me. Make fun of me. Bully me in the comments. It's okay. With that being said, I'll see you guys on another day. Bye-bye.